O Ramon foi duramente criticado pela mídia gringa sobre suas poses. Após o Mr. Olímpia, o Ramon foi convidado por um dos árbitros do Mr. Olímpia a fazer um guest pose no Master Brasil, e ele estava sem treinar e sem fazer dieta. E mesmo assim, ele impressionou muita gente com o shape, e um dos maiores canais do fisiculturismo do mundo fez duras críticas sobre as poses do Ramon. E nós trazemos esses comentários desse canal, traduzido pelo próprio YouTube. E por ser traduzido pelo YouTube, vai ter alguns erros de português. Então antes de ver o que ele disse, já deixa o like para ajudar na divulgação do vídeo, e se inscreve no canal para ficar por dentro de tudo que acontece no meio maromba. Agora bora ver o que ele disse.
Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, a recent guest posing from none other than Ramon Dino, just a few weeks now after the 2023 Mr. Olympia, where he took second place again to Chris Bumstead. So there's a couple things that people are pointing out about this guest posing. I think number one is the fact that he looks significantly bigger. I think a lot of people point out, particularly in the off season, Ramon is like 250 plus. He's really big. He's really lean. Some say that even though that he got this little boost because the taller guy's got a slight height increase at the Olympia this year, the shorter guy's got a much bigger one. Even though he got this little boost in weight, some people feel like that classic weight cap for Ramon is still a little bit too restricting for his physique. Like he's a little bit too big for that weight cap, and that might throw him off a little bit. And I think what I notice in this guest posing video is he does look a lot fuller. I mean, obviously, he's not in contest shape, so he's going to be fuller. He's been eating. But he looks a lot fuller. His legs look a lot bigger. His arms look a lot bigger. Just overall, I think him with a fuller look, obviously not this full, not off-season full, but he looks better when he's fuller. Now, the other thing that a lot of people notice and point out with Ramon, not just in this guest posing, but in general and at the Olympia, is his posing really is not the best, especially considering the fact that he's a classic physique guy, and some would argue that in classic physique posing is more important than the other divisions. When you've got guys like Terrence, Rough Diesel, guys like Logan Franklin, just these guys that put on a master class in posing and presentation of the physique, a lot of people notice that Ramon isn't a great poser, and I think the main reason why is he doesn't hold his poses very long. If you watch him go through this routine, when he hits like a front double bicep or a back double bicep or a single arm shot, he doesn't hold that shot in the final position for just more than a second. He barely holds it, and then he transitions into the next pose, and I think that's something he struggles with on the Olympia stage as well. And next to a guy like Chris Bumstead, I wouldn't even say that Chris is one of the most eloquent posers in classic physique, but he's like a true professional. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to hold and hit the poses. He knows how to present his physique in the most effective, impressive way on stage. And I feel like Ramon is pretty clearly still learning that aspect. And I think as you watch this posing video, I would pay attention to the front double bicep pose. I think he hits it 2 or 3 times in this video, once kind of kneeling and once standing up. I think it's a really strong pose for him. Ramon has really big arms. He's got a nice, really aesthetic V-taper. But when he hits that front double bicep and he's got both arms flexed at the top of that pose, it's literally less than a second that he holds it there. But I think in that pose, at the peak of that pose, is when he looks the best, but he just doesn't hold it. He just seems like he's really rushing through these poses, and it was kind of the same story on the Olympia stage. So I just point this out to say, a lot of people obviously now are wondering, is Ramon ever going to be able to beat Chris Bumstead? You saw Terrence pushing Chris for years, and Terrence was never able to actually beat Chris, and now Terrence seems to have slipped outside the conversation, at least for the time being. Is Ramon a guy that's legitimately a contender to beat Chris Bumstead, or is he just another guy that's going to be second place and then one day slip out of that conversation? Breon, the same thing happened to him. That second place spot kind of seems to keep rotating, and there's these just minor differences like this, the posing versus the professionalism of Chris. It's like these little details that I think really keep Chris on top.
É isso aí, muitos gringos seguem falando mal do Ramon, e parece que alguns até não gostam dele, talvez por ser brasileiro, mas nós sabemos que o que importa é em cima do palco, é o shape e não quem é o favorito. Concordam ou discordam de tudo isso? Deixe sua opinião aqui embaixo. O vídeo vai ficando por aqui e até mais.